Well, good evening, good evening out there, world. We're on. Welcome to another episode of the Bridge. I'm your host, one of your co-hosts, James Howard, along with my other partner in crime, Chef Irie.
What up,
I,
y'all? What's up, everybody?
so I think we're gonna go ahead and just uh, jump right in tonight because as the title of the show says, the verdict is in.
It sure as hell is in. That's for sure. Oh, that's my thing.
And
Okay.
now that we're gonna talk about the verdict, but the main topic of the show is the verdict is in. Now, what is our community next move?
Mm,
Now we can start off talking about the verdict with how quick they came back once they went to the jury
hmm
for a jury to deliberate. Let's say within 10 hours. That's a quick verdict to come back.
Relatively. I mean, there have been there have been less, but
But
but because everybody was expecting it to be a little longer, but yeah, they like one, and then I'm sure they wanted to get up out of there too. But of course, they're still doing their civic duties. Yes, yes, yes. Um, but it's hard to go against facts. I don't care what the defense tried to put up. It was just blatantly obvious. The entire world saw it for 9 minutes. We saw what we saw. We believe what we saw, and we knew it to be the truth. And I don't see how you're able to combat that. Defense is going to be weak as best. So, but they tried.
well, like I said, for this type of what the subject matter on this case, it was a quick turnaround. But it's like you say, hey, the proof was in the pudding. Everything was there. So Why would they have to deliberate any longer? You
True,
know.
true that. And I don't think people you know, had it in their mind that they were going to convict him, especially of
Mhm.
all three charges. And I think convicting is one thing, getting a jury to convict on all three charges. They're not all, separate per se. They're all, you know, similar. Um, you know, kind of like one kind of sort of leads to the other. I guess that's what when you go from bottom to top. So the jury did their job. They did their job.
Mhm. And I guess they figured that some of the clearer people on there were going to stick to that he's one of us for the defense, and that should not play factor in anything when you look at the evidence
hmm
and you see what was going in the past. We know it has play factors, but the eyes of the world were was on them.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think going home tonight, with a not guilty verdict, they might not. I don't think people would have made it out of the courthouse, man. I don't care what they were preparing for. It was just going to be, as they would say, hell on powder house, man. It just wasn't going to sit right. It hasn't, I think talk about the levees breaking in New Orleans. I think it would be yeah, a lot more insane, today, um, if the decision was different. I believe.
Yeah, even the governor here for the state of Florida had passed the riot law just in time for the verdict. You
Right.
know,
Yeah. That's all plan and politics,
yeah,
I
and
don't know
and
the constitutionality of that bill, but yeah, that was planned, right on time.
well, they were thinking that the verdict was gonna go the other way, and it
Mm,
was and it had stiffer fines and for protesters, like for even blocking the street or giving more policing leeway.
well, be interesting. Well, I mean, I'm no attorney or anything like that, but everybody's asking the question, about the constitutionality, of that bill. How much, and one of the things I remember saying, and I'm sure we get back to George Floyd in a bit, several years ago, during the presidential campaign before 2016, is that people were up in arms, still is, about the Second Amendment, rights to bear arms and all that good stuff, and talking about, the government is trying to take away their right.
Uh-huh.
But I was saying everybody is busy looking at Second Amendment when the
First
master plan
Amendment is going
is
down the
has
hole.
always been about the First Amendment.
Hmm.
That was the master plan. How do you, you know, consistently and subsequently chip away at things that are held, there, in the Constitution, and finding ways to circumvent them, and then having, hopefully, most of them get challenged, and take it all the way to the Supreme Court. Um, so, which I think this probably will be, at some point. But yeah, you're right. He released that just in time, thinking that there's going to be, hell on potholes, broken out. Um, what that says to him and his leadership, is that he's wanting to be like his master, and he's basically laying out a plan, because he wants to run for president.
Hmm.
That's his plan. That's his ultimate plan, to run for president in 2024. And he's basically saying, if you can't have that other dude, you can have one just like him. That would be me. You know, and that's how he's setting himself up, for later down the road. Um, but I'm really glad that, we're the verdict, what we got, came out the way it came out. I'm glad that there was no hung jury on any of the charges. Um, you know, and for Mr. Felonius was, George's older brother. I hope he can get some sleep, because he hasn't slept well since his brother died. I hope other people can find some solace in what happened. Okay, what? So your ultimate question, what happens after? One of the things I was talking about today is that, black people, especially when I was looking at the video that went viral of the sergeant guy in South Carolina, and people, he was berating the young lad in his community that lived in his community, ultimately pushing him, hence assault charges. And I was saying, people came and protested in front of his house, and subsequently he got arrested. And of course, so that means he got to deal with civil and the military. But I was saying, people are sick and tired. People, I think, have gone past the point of being, sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I asked myself that question: what comes after that? And I think what you saw in the reaction from the people that went to protest this man's house and this protest in general, maybe we're not, we think we're sick and tired, but I think we're sick and tired of the policies. And I think what comes next is that you find ways or the energy to not rebel. I guess it's rebel. I guess in protest form. I guess, and calling out. Instead of just calling out people in the wrongs that they're doing, is to meet them where you know the pavement meets the road, right in front of them. Not just call them out, but be there and make sure that these people, I guess, suffer some amount of consequences. Chauvin goes to jail. People who are racist and this, that, and the other, and trying to hurt people, especially if they're assaulting people. Yeah, they need to go to jail too. They need to get arrested. Other stuff needs to happen. Other police need to go to jail. You
Well,
know.
all right, let me pull a Charles Barkley right quick. That's why I'm gonna give an unsolicited shout out to my brother D-Tron Peoples because I see he watching. We want to congratulate him.
Oh yeah, what happened?
He recently got engaged. He proposed to his
Ooh,
fiance.
go on ahead, brother. Congrats, Mr. Deatron. Mr. Deatron people. You're gonna have a Mrs. Peoples. Ah, yeah, bro. Go ahead, bro. Yeah, we good. Too bad we can't meet up for a drink right now. Damn it.
Yeah,
Uncle
but I
Nair,
want
Uncle Nair says hi.
yeah, but I know I congratulated him on social media, but I wanted to say it out loud to him, so say he's on the right path.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Enlighten my path, my brother. Enlighten my path. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
let's just get back on topic. I agree that 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 this was a much needed victory, but this is just one step, one step, and we still on a journey to right these wrongs that happen in America for us as a culture.
Hmm.
Because I said this is the first step, but there's three more officers out there.
Yeah, so and those cases come to trial, I guess later. I mean, the Attorney General didn't want to talk about them. So people are wondering whether or not those three individuals will go to jail. In terms of their culpability. So that remains to be seen. What their charges are going to be, who defends them, and all that good stuff. I don't know if it's going to be the same prosecutors that do the case, but that we're looking that comes up during the summer. Yeah.
I believe so, but my problem is you need to charge him just like everybody else. If he got convicted of second degree murder,
Hmm.
um, no, what they gave him second degree manslaughter, right, or
Yeah.
murder.
Manslaughter,
Those,
murder, same thing.
um, those police officers are accessories to
Hmm.
the crime. So there's not getting on because none of them try to stop him. None of them try to push him off or anything. So they are accessories to the crime. So they should be facing the same amount of time as Chauvin.
I think. I mean, they should be, but I don't think that is going to happen. Um, and yeah, I don't think that's going to that's going to happen. Um, there were as Deetron is chiming in,
Mhm.
they are they still on the force? They didn't get fired. They're still on the force, but yeah,
I think the only one that got fired was Chauvin.
okay. All right, so I guess they're home on administrative leave since
Mhm.
last year.
No, they probably back on duty.
Oh, they're back on duty. Okay,
Yeah.
so definitely the officer that checked the pulse and got they didn't stay on him for the duration of time. Um, you know, the main part of what happened was all Chauvin. It was all him, and he was their superior officer. He was their training officer, and I guess the defense, we are going according to what our training officer and superior officer, is. They're rookies. I guess they don't want to upset the balance. You know, this isn't the case. The lady officer in Buffalo. You remember that? That case that got
Mhm.
when her superior officer had the dude in a chokehold or what have you, and she caused fuss and ruckus and pushed him
Mhm.
off the dude. The officer turned around and punched her and all kind of stuff. She
Mhm.
reported it. She ended up getting fired, and she was, I think, 6 months away from getting her pension. She lost her pension. She lost her badge and everything, and just recently, the Supreme Court there reinstated all her benefits and said that she was unjustly fired. Back in the day. So times have changed, and maybe who knows? Maybe I don't know. Good police officers may start, stepping up. I don't know how you combat the blue wall, because it's always been about protecting each other. Not necessarily protecting each other's back, but just protecting each other, regardless of the malfeasance that you're committing. And everybody just close their eyes and shut their mouth.
But that's why I say they need to be charged just like him, because now it sets the precedent that if you do this stuff, you're gonna be charged to the fullest extent. So it would kind of deter some of that action,
Right.
you know. So the standpoint I'm looking from, if two black people go in the store, we rode together, and you commit a crime, and I don't even know you commit a crime, but I was with you, I'm gonna get that charge too.
Yeah. But
And I'm
it doesn't apply the same for cops unless you just you know this is definitely a mile marker case, that involves several officers. And so, if this is the one that allows the dominoes in certain places to fall, then so be it. You know, um, and Deitron is asking. He was saying that that was a 2006 case, and it there's a shift occurring, and I guess based on the testament that we saw during the trial, where police officers were testifying against this dude, and the you know the funny thing about that though is that because of that video, because of that video, they had no choice. But imagine if there was not that video, all right? Imagine if there was not that video there for us all to see. What would be the case be? Would there
it
be a,
would
would there be a case anyway?
there wouldn't be no case, because they would have been lying saying that he resisted,
Hmm.
and and his death was a cause of him having a heart attack from him resisting.
Right. And I'm like resisting, this is crazy. I mean, when we look at so many of these damn videos, bro, and all they gotta say is you resisted, which allows them, to use. And but now it's like lethal force. I mean, yeah, is it justified? You know, you know, talk about split second decisions, and I was listening to a pundit, talk, about cases like this, and he was just saying how sometimes juries are sometimes compassionate to police officers because of split second decisions that they're making. Even though it seemed wrong and obvious to us, sometimes they're compassionate to them because of those circumstances. You know, um, because that's what they're saying. Whether they got body cam or what have you. Just when you look at Adam, you know, in what the kid got shot in a second.
But see, that's the problem too. They have body cams, but they don't always want to release the body cam, especially when they know they have done wrong.
Well, as you can see, body cams, they're starting to release these body cam videos. Like it's almost as if it within 24 hours. You know, in some cases, in most cases, they're starting to release these body cams. Quicker and sooner and sooner because of the public's cry and the people who are out there, the activists and all these stuff. We want to see the public because the public deserves to see. The public deserve to see what's going on. Are you guys hiding something? Why can't we see the video? If there's nothing wrong on the video, release the video. You've talked to your AG see it, all these the law people see it. All right, then after they see it, release the video. We want to see what you see it.
And that's the major problem I have, that the police always seem like they're hiding something when when it comes to releasing this information. If you're in the up and up, there should never be a problem with showing information.
The police are more accountable for their actions. Change the narrative, Detron says. So we're all in the same in one accord in the same. We are in agreement. Yeah, change the narrative. You know, um, yeah, police have to be held more accountable these days. It can't just be the status quo and, oh well, this is a dangerous job and blah blah blah. As you can see, I think most of these cops probably just forget all the damn training that they go through, whatever that training is. And once they are behind that badge and behind that gun, they come in because I'm sure it's quite easy to lie on these assessment tests that they give you. You know, it's quite easy, I'm sure, if you have a motive and your purpose is to get on the force, whether because you are a white supremacist, you're racist, or you're just a person that just wants to do bad things to people, especially black and brown people. There are ways to get around all those things, just so you can put yourself in position to do those things.
Especially when it's a fellow white supremacist giving you the test.
That too, you know, that too, you know, things don't have to be spoken out front.
Hmm.
Whether it's a hand sign, a tattoo, or what have you, a color, those things are made known in the places that they tread. Especially online and all that good stuff.
What did they try and say? Uh,
But do we rely on what is the budget? What? Ooh, all right. Civil rights groups, bigger government, Congress and POTUS. Well, we know there's not much that POTUS. It comes down to Congress one, and I think I was about to say civil rights takes there, but I think it's sort of one of them symbiotic things. Congress takes kind of the lead based on the pressure that they're getting from civil rights groups and vice versa. But
mhm.
legislation, I think, is needed. It's eminent. Yeah, changes in some of the laws, and we need to have laws. And I know about this whole thing with state rights and all that stuff, but we need to have laws that are, well. I guess that's the whole federal thing, I suppose. Um, you know, but we have so many different freaking laws in everywhere you go. You
But
know,
see, but
so
that's the one thing that I'm saying that we cannot rely on Congress or POTUS. It starts on the local and the state level. That's where the fight really is.
well, the
Because
fight. So does is the fight coming from them or is the fight coming from us?
from
Because
us,
without people going to vote, that fight is moot. That fight is null and void.
but I think it has to come from us to force the change. Because they're
Hmm.
not going to change. Because let's just say it now that politicians are part of the status quo right now.
Hmm. So I'd say Detroit. I can't say that we must put our weight on civil rights groups. You know, they serve an awesome purpose for sure. Um, but we have to put more weight and we have to hold more people in Congress accountable for what we are out here, or people who are out here on the battlegrounds, the streets, the
Mhm.
communities. You know, we have to put more pressure on people in Congress. We have to, those if we, especially now, what we are seeing, who some of these people are. You know, a lot of people seem like they're going to Congress. They're not going there to do work. You know, between in the first what 80 something days of this administration and basically the last 4 years of the last, what work has the GOP done?
Hmm. Hmm.
What work have they gone to the capital to do? Okay, they haven't done any work in these almost 90 days. They've just been bantering and refuting and want to censure and being hypocrites, and they haven't done any work.
But
They haven't
hey,
passed
but
any policy.
but that is the work that they have done to
But that,
repeal the progress
that
that has been made.
right. So the good conservatives, that's not what they send them there to Congress to do. So I guess the bad apples are the ones that are reaping the rewards now, because that's where the scale is tilting. You know, the support is going towards the bad apples and their ideas and ideals. You know, but we, real
I,
question.
but what I'm agree with Detron too, because they in the same boat as the Republicans. Now, I'm not saying that it's just the Republicans that have done because that have done us dirty, because the Democrats ask for our votes and get there and forget how they got in there and start with
But
their own agendas.
but that you get that might be a case or the case or a case, for argument and argument's sake, or just for an argument anyway. But who is, for all the bills that the House have passed, and we've been in control of the House, Reagan, since 2018, okay, and all the bills that have been passed since then, okay, and it's only only now that, with the slimmest of majority that we have in the Senate, that any little thing might be able to get done. Everything that the House tried to do, whether you agreed with it or not, it end up in the graveyard of that dude, the Grim Reaper. So that's the name he likes, and he loves that name. Mitch loves that name. He loves being called the Grim Reaper. So I can't sit here and say Democrats have not tried to do things to help the country, on a whole. But if you don't have any corporation from the other side, then it would look like you're doing nothing. It would look like you're doing nothing. So I can't sit here and say Democrats have not done anything at all. And anybody, if you say that they haven't done anything at all, then I'd say that's crazy, and that's lying, and that's hypocritical. You know, if you are saying, maybe the question should be, you should say, what have they done that's very meaningful? Then that's something that might be a different question. So they haven't done anything. No, that's not what I said. That is not what I said, Detron. I didn't say they haven't done anything. I said they've tried to do a lot of things, and there's some things that I've done, and they're, based on in the Congress, bills that they've passed, and for the things that they've tried to do, because a lot of these things and efforts have been swept under the rug and been killed in the Senate, especially during this last administration, it would seem that they are not doing anything. I didn't say they haven't done anything. And I didn't say that they're trying to do something now. That's not what I said. You know.
Okay, but
But uh, to go back and answer your question, yeah, we need to lean on our Congress, and and I think that would help civil rights groups and organizations, to get a better support, because they'll know who exactly is fighting for what, or championing, which the causes that are important and relevant, to the people as needed.
but
Yeah.
let me say this,
Hmm.
Detron, what do you feel needs to be done on the local level? And I know I'm not saying for Democrats or Republicans, because we need to apply the pressure to the both of them. We don't owe, like we've been saying, we don't owe them our allegiance. What do you think we need to do to force our hand on them? You could jump in there on that too, Ari.
Yeah, and what we can do. Wow. Besides the normal, oh, call your congressman and write your letter, and I think we need to be up there in Capitol Hill. You know, we can't get a response from an email, from a letter, a response from a telephone call. Then we need to have groups that go to Congress every day. You know, and just like how when Parkland, the mass shooting in Parkland, and the kids, they decide, look, we're going to go to Tallahassee, and we're going to get, they may not have gotten the chance to speak to the some of the actual people that they wanted to talk to, but they did get a chance to speak to some of them. And I think, that's what, needs to happen. If you can't get response through email, phone call, then we need to be up there in large, massive groups, demanding to see, senators and stuff like that. I know, with everything, especially after January 6th, that might not happen, but they need to, maybe we need to start asking for more town halls. We need to see our senators. We demand that we see our senators face to face in the state, that they represent, our Congress people. We need to start seeing them face to face, in the districts that they represent. We need to be at town halls, um, you know, taking it to them, asking them the tough questions, presenting the tough issues to them face to face. You know, they can't just be, talk about, we represent you, and they don't come to see the people. The last time you see them is when they were on the campaign trail. Give me your money, give me your votes. Okay, so we exactly. So we need to be holding them accountable for everything that they do. If we're talking
Well,
about the people, go ahead, go ahead. I'm just reading this message.
I agree with Detron, because saying that we need to make it part of the culture to film all the acts that you see the police doing in public. the yeah, I'm a firm believer in black people should arm ourselves. You want to see the gun laws change, the things they change. Let black people come to it as a collective and start forming their own gun clubs, which there are some out there, and having a black NRA, which is one out there, and and you will see them try to start changing. the laws for guns.
And that's one issue, which is
Mhm.
a very important issue considering how many freaking mass shootings we've had, you know, in since January, since January, how many mass shootings we'd have in the last week.
Mhm.
Okay, I mean, is it are we is it that we have to convince us to own guns legally, um, and and not be fearful of the fact that we are getting guns and having guns to protect ourselves. Everybody feels the same way, that looks like me and you about guns. You know, they don't not all want to have guns, right? So not everybody feels the same way. You know,
Well,
but that
I can agree with that. But I'm just saying how people are concerned about how gun laws need to be changed. They're not going to change the gun laws until they see us with more guns,
hmm
and then you'll see them see a change because then they'll be like, "Well, it's too many black people owning guns. There's too many black people out with open carry. You know, carrying they guns around. Like, hey, like the Panthers. Hey, you not finna bother us. You're more likely to keep. Hey, if they ain't doing nothing, let that man keep going. He ain't
but
breaking no
it
laws.
right. So in these 20 states, how often do we see people still trying to that look like you and I have the right to have these weapons, but because of the endemic, the how people are inculcated and trained, we're not supposed to have these guns. It doesn't matter if our state allows for open carry; they're going to be the first person to call the cops on you.
Well, I'm gonna say like this. By me, the pandemic slowed me down but being always being in Georgia and certain parts of Georgia, hey, they carrying their thing with no problem on their hip in the
Hmm
grocery store.
Right,
but
and you preface your statement by saying in certain parts of Georgia.
this is rural Georgia. Um, some cities might have a difference in the law that they might not let you carry it like that.
Right. And I guess that goes further down into municipalities, right?
Mhm.
So you have the whole state, but now it comes right down to the municipalities, and what mayors and this and that decide is good for that particular part of Georgia,
Mhm.
part of Texas, part of Florida, whatever, wherever, So
Yeah,
that's
because I can say in Atlanta, I have never really seen anybody open carry.
right.
Even though
See.
I know you can do it, I
Mhm.
never really seen nobody open carry.
So is it that people just don't push, don't they've decided not to push the law to see what the actions would be, or
Well, I don't.
they're just okay with, okay, we're good, you know.
I'm gonna do this. Fact checker, can you check and see if you have the right to open carry in Atlanta, in the city of Atlanta? Because I know when stuff started popping off, it was a military group. I mean, a black group up there that just brandished all their firearms. It was like a motorcycle club.
Mhm.
You can't get enough.
Right. So if you haven't get caught, so, but before while fact checker is doing that, I can go back to something else, Detron. I just wanted to ask you. You said more town halls will just give us more filibusters. So ex, explain that to me. If we're the people asking, you're saying what these Congress people and these senators will just double down on their rhetoric and not listen to the people.
No, I jump in that where I would believe Detron is saying that it's just giving us more talk. It's just more talk without action. and some people might feel that the talking is action, but it's just going in a circle.
Yeah, but we're talking, but we're not talking to the people, the representatives. We're talking amongst ourselves. We're not talking to them in a direct manner. Okay, they always talk about I'm taking this back to the people. But when do you ever see a congressman or a senator come back to their districts? And their districts are sometimes large, and talk to us, the people, what they say they are bringing back, what they say they're asking us, what they say they're asking for us, for us to do. They're supposed to represent us, but we, on a whole, we don't see them. We don't hear what it is that they're saying they're going to go back to Congress to do. They're the ones that are doing the talking. So the talking that we're doing is always amongst ourselves, and we're not directly talking to them.
Well, I hear what you're saying, Ari, but I know I understand what Detron is saying too. Talking to them and talking to them and talking to them, and the actions, nothing is coming from the conversation. It's just you spinning your wheels. And
Right.
on the other side note, yes, you can open carry in Atlanta if you have I guess you have if you have a concealed weapons license.
Mhm. So let me ask. So you being the person, that have armament, when it comes to conceal permits and licensing, is one more? Is it any more difficult to get that as opposed to just having a regular license, as opposed to a concealed weapon permit? I mean,
Well,
how often do
well,
they admit it? Do they give those out? And what are
well,
the criteria?
you have to go to a class and and get certified to carry a concealed firearm.
Hmm.
And to me, there's no such thing as having a, um, a gun license unless it's a concealed weapon license. Because all everything else is I can have a rifle. I ain't got to register
Right.
it. I can have a handgun. I don't have to register it. I mean, it can be registered, but you don't have to have my serial number. You don't have to have the ballistics or nothing. I can just have a gun. Once
Mhm.
you have that that concealed weapons license, they doing the background check. They're investigating you before they allow you to to get the that license.
Right. So I'm assuming now, so people who are applying, so the pushback from them is that they've been a hard, there's been a hard pushback on on background checks and red flag laws and stuff like that. Some that the red flag laws, they're kind of, maybe more amenable to it, but is it that if they start doing, like a general background check, there's a lot, that allows crosses cross the board from state to state. Is that the thing that will probably prevent a lot of people from having concealed weapons permit because they could not pass um, those background checks?
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you what the biggest thing. Long as there are gun shows,
Hmm.
ain't no stopping this.
Right. So and and because I guess it's your first amendment right, what, to sell, to have gun shows and sell guns, and you can go and buy guns. So obviously there's so many different loopholes that that could be closed, should be closed, um, but they're not.
Yeah, because I'm buying from a private seller.
Right.
Private seller doesn't always have to have that have to do a background check on you.
Right. Hmm.
And that's that. And you think about um where the most the argument is creating a delay and violating people's rights to bear arms. Yeah, that's true.
30 days. 30 days. 30 days we, which war and insurrection besides, the idiots January 6th? What else? What else is on the? We're not there. There's nobody invading us right now. Okay, there's no bombs that are dropping on us. You know, so to bear arms against who? To bear arms against us, each other. To
Yes,
go
you
to
should be able to have the right to bear arms against somebody robbing you, invading your house. You should be able to protect yourself. That's the right to bear arms.
Okay, so the 30 years before you went into decide that you're gonna nothing ever happened. So that's the next 30 days that you're gonna wait to get this permit. And that's basically the argument. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
has ever happened before, but because I want to have it immediately break news. Well, as many good guy, I still haven't seen a good guy shot. I'm a shooter yet. You know, I still haven't seen anybody, shoot an offender after they've been held up or home invasion. And a lot of these
I,
people have guns.
Ari. Here's the point of it. Are
I'm not playing
police
devil guy,
supposed to
I'm
be
just doing
good?
the devil's advocate thing. I'm not saying I'm against
No, no,
guns.
no, no.
You know,
I'm gonna ask you a question. Are the police supposed to be good guys?
are the police are here to protect and serve us, the people. That's what they got hired to do.
So they
So
supposed to be the
I
good
don't know if they're
guys.
supposed to be good guys, but I know they're supposed to protect and serve us.
Have they ever shot a mass shooter?
Yes,
What color was
both black and white.
he? Okay, but I'm saying like
But
recently, the mass shooters
like,
they have,
yeah, they don't get dead. Is that they, yeah, on a regular? No, they don't.
and it's like they have been taken to Burger King by the good guys, been given preferential treatment by the good guys. But these are the people that's supposed to be protecting us.
But the whole thing about us is that we don't need to be a mass shooter. We just need to get stopped for a traffic stop, and we're dead. We don't need to have a gun. We don't need to be armed. You know. And so, if we're armed, and maybe they should change the laws. Maybe you should be able to shoot a cop and defend yourself.
And
I don't.
and I'm a firm believer in that. If
A cop
if
is about
a
to take
cop,
your life. And how do what do you do to protect yourself? Nothing. There's nothing we can do. He's gonna
I
shoot you.
believe,
He's
just
gonna
like he
put.
can say he was in fear of his life, just like the lieutenant said, "I'm in fear of my life,"
Hmm.
and the policeman told him, "You damn well should be."
Right.
Is is that is that something you supposed to say as a police officer? You
That's not.
supposed to fear
That's
me?
that's why his ass is fired. That's why his ass ain't got a job.
But my thing is not the majority, but that's the thinking of a lot of police officers out there. I'm not gonna say that's the majority, but a lot of police officers feel you should fear them.
Well, so they're doing it backwards, right? And if that is the case, if we're just only supposed to fear you as you quote unquote, upholding the law, then the thing that used to work is never going to work ever again, because you're never going to have people trust the cops. You're never going to have someone, provide, or more people providing information that can lead to, a lessening in some of the criminal activities, a lessening in the amount of drug dealers on the street corners, in communities. Because, as we can see, if the police ain't gonna help, then the people in the communities are the ones who have to go help themselves at much detriment to their survival and their and their health and their lives, you know. And who's always leading the challenge and the forefront of that? Black women. You know, they're not getting protected like that, but they're the ones who are standing up. And so we more of us need to be taking on the roles that a lot of black women are taking on, when it comes to defending and protecting not just our communities, but because of the kids. We want to see the kids grow up and survive and come out of these communities, be doctors, lawyers, and presidents and congressmen and tech people and all this stuff.
I'm gonna ask a question to one of our audience that's out there, uh, especially since I'm digging the name Blackula 305. Do you feel that it's the right um, for black people to be able to police their own community? And how do you feel about that, Ari and Detron?
Ask that question again.
Do you feel that we should be able to police our own communities?
Is that what the Black Panthers try to do?
That's a form of it.
Right? But it was met with not just with resistance, but with subterfuge. You know, no, you black people can't. No, you can't have that kind of dominance over us. No. You can't subvert us and circumvent us. No.
But as a community, your job is to serve us. And if we see that you're doing wrong, we should be able to admonish you and say, hey, that's not happening over here in this community.
Well, so should we be able to police our own communities? In what? So expound on that a little bit, because that's kind of general and that's kind of vague. What are we? What if we're going to be policing our communities? What's the expectation? What are we expected to do? Can we bring back citizens arrest? Can we make are we not going to get sued? If some
Um,
you know
was
what so, yeah, what would be the
that's
guideline?
the biggest problem that's going to ever happen about, because the way America is sued up. I mean, set up now. Hey, if I feel you hurt my feelings for the way I tie my shoe, I can sue you.
Hmm.
So you always going it's always going to be a potential lawsuit out there everywhere. But as far as policing your community, yes, we should be able to control what happens in our community. If something is wrong going on in the community, we should be able to step up and put a stop to it. We can't always wait and rely on the police to do their job, because shit, they ain't been doing their job.
All right, so put a stop to it. What does that mean?
Put a stop to it.
Yeah,
Um,
what does that mean?
as a community, we should be able to say, if if you see actions happening over here in this certain area, we should be able to be in that area, control it, and deter certain things from happening in that area, whether it be drug trafficking, whether it be graffiti, or just trash, people throwing out trash and piling up, because that hurts the community as well.
Okay. And so we're doing these things, and we're still, we're doing it at some peril to our lives,
But
because criminals are going to be criminals. They're going to continue criming, until a majority of people. Yes, that's the only way, and it has to be consistent, and everybody has to be on board, like the entire community, whatever how big or small that community is. Everybody in that community has to be on board. But
yeah,
as we know, most communities hide and protect the people who are criming.
and that's the problem that we have to get come together as a community. If
Right.
and I'm gonna put it to you like this: how do you stop bad cops if no one speaks out?
So,
It won't.
so basically, as a community, we're doing two jobs. We're going to be doing two jobs. We're
It
we're policing we're going to police the police because that's what's needed, but we're also out here, you know. So are we not looking for? I guess the help that we're supposed to have is not helping us. So so where does that leave us? You know, if we're trying to do two jobs on both on the same front, the same front line, you try, you know, the police are out there doing their dirty. We need to be making sure that, you know, they're on the up and up. You know, but who are we reporting them to? Because their superior officer is probably in league with what the hell they're doing. Is okay with that, whatever some of the stuff, the shit that they're doing.
well, they got to have a community board made up of commissioners, citizens, and even if it and some police to
Well,
rectify that stuff.
but so here's the deal now. A lot of communities have that, but here's why those things never seem to to take on the strength that it should. Everybody in the community is not on board, or most people are on board with the ideas in their own houses, but they are not outwardly actively supporting the cause. So you can form all kind of board you want, you know, chief of police and, you know, whatever it is, and whatever, and people in the community on the board. But if they're the only ones doing, and the people in the community are not supporting the way they should, then all the efforts are going to be, you know, in vain, because the people of the community is what's supposed to be the driving force. Everybody in it has to be on board.
But
I think that's why a lot of these boards fail.
I think sometimes the board fails because people feel like the they're really they're really not doing what they're supposed to do,
Right.
and and they become not non-supportive because they don't feel like any action is really going to come from it.
Okay. So so we're right. So it's basically, so we're right back where we started. We're not getting any help from the people that's supposed to be helping us. The people that are supposed to be out there helping to support and protect us. So we're right. We're so we're it's a cycle that doesn't seem to ever gets broken.
But if you don't get out there and try to do the work, you can't complain about the system. That's one of my biggest points. If you're
Hmm.
not trying to do anything to change it, don't complain about it because you're part of the problem.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's why I said, you know, you can have all the ideals and conversations in the backyard playing dominoes and stuff like that, but you know, you know, you gotta have people go out. And I think because we're in such the way our society is right now, everybody is basically, you know, for themselves. You know, I gotta protect my own interest. I gotta protect this interest. I gotta protect that interest. You know, let somebody else do the job. Let somebody, they can do it. They, you know, and we just sit back here and hopefully reap the rewards. And it doesn't really work like that, you
What you
know.
trying to
So
say?
monitoring their behavior to hold them accountable. Mm, and I guess that's why, you know, that's why cell phones have become so important. You know, over the last what, 5 years, 10 years. You know, cell phones have become the third man.
Mhm.
You know, they're better than eyewitness account. You know, they documented it as it happened. You know, and you know, we should not be retaliated against by idiot cops that don't know the law, telling but you can't film,
Film.
right?
Hmm.
We should not be retaliated against that because we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, policing you, making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
And the biggest problem I say when you're filming them, that they get in the way and block you from filming the other officers when they're the other officer could be doing wrong, but you're helping. You're helping hide their criminal acts
Hmm.
by oh, I'm filming them, so now you come stand right in front of me, and when I step to the side to try to get get the other angle, you step to the side too, blocking it.
Right. And I think we should be you know enacting, finding ways for changes to be enacted where police are not creating situations to justify their bad actions. Because
Mhm.
basically, you could be out there doing your due diligence, you know, trying to hold them accountable, and all they gotta do is come up to you and move, and then I'm going to arrest you,
Mhm.
and you're like, for what? I haven't done anything wrong, and next thing you know, you're resisting arrest.
Well, that's one of my biggest problems with the where I say police do in the black community. They escalate a situation before de-escalating,
Hmm.
and I say time and time again, you can see them in other community. Hey, what's going on? How can I help? When in the black community, is what you doing here? Why are you over here?
Right? You ain't like you're not supposed to have any business
Hmm.
being a human being.
That's my firm belief that hey, one, you create problems. You create problems with from their actions. How they escalate the situation.
The police can have. So policing the police can happen. I'm not saying that it can happen. I just think that if we're going about to do these things, we need to know exactly what we're doing, and to do the things that's going to be more most effective when it comes to policing the police. We don't we're not independent film crews that are out monitoring police scanners. Detron, I'm just responding to something Detron has said. And so we're not trying to get to police scenes. Usually things are happening, and the people who are reacting to the situations are people who happen to be there and happen to say, well, this is unjust. And that's what happened in Floyd's case. People started, like, hey, what the hell you doing? And the young lady started to film, you know, and because she just felt that it was just wrong what he was doing. And that's what I said earlier. What would have happened? Well, we know what would have happened if someone like her wasn't around to film. And yes, they may have, yes, there were other cameras and stuff in stores and stuff like that, but she gave a very close up view of what we needed to see. And if that piece of video was not there, I don't think we're not here at this moment.
I agree. I agree that
Right.
it would have never made news. It would just been another black man died from
Mm,
resisting arrest.
right. If body cam, if their body cams for some reason weren't working Sunday when Deontay got shot, it was just like, oh, he had a gun. We thought he had a gun when he went into the car. So I shot him, as opposed to, oh, I mistakenly shot him. I thought it was my taser. That's probably what you'd have heard if there were no body cams. You
Yeah,
know,
but
you know.
that's something funny that I looked at because she pulled that gun and shot. with another officer right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to say, usually when you yell taser, 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 and you finna tase somebody, other
You need some
officer
space,
can't hold him because
right?
he
You
gonna
need
get
some
tased
space.
too.
Yeah, you need some space.
Yes, but he kept holding him,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I look at there's a video out there floating where this white guy's in a pickup truck
Mm-hmm.
and he's trying to get away. He's ramming the other police car. And they're all on the car, but they didn't shoot. They didn't try to tase him. And I had heard one comment say why they didn't shoot and but endanger the other police officer that was on the car. But what happened right in this case where she's yelling taser and she shot the man that wasn't endangering the other officer at the same time too. It's
Mm-hmm.
all in your perspective on how you look at it. And when I say perspective, it's clear as black and white.
Right.
Your black perspective and the white perspective. If he
Yeah.
was black and he was driving that pickup truck, he would have got shot.
Right. So let's go back to something here. Detron is is bringing up. When we're talking about the police and videos and all that good stuff
Mhm.
in terms of Black America. So basically, Detron, you're saying that what they're doing, we can do as well. So is the onus on activist groups within our neighborhoods to start doing these things where they too have police scanners and monitors in our communities, and they too now can descend on these scenes and and monetize it for the organizations, for the communities. You know, you know, yeah, yeah. Are we monetizing it for that purpose? And who are the people who would be responsible for catching all these videos and stuff, to bring attention to what's happening besides just regular cell phones from John Public.
Well, I would say it reverts back to a board. You if you show these videos and a boy picks it up and takes it to the police, like, hey, we have this, and
Okay.
your officer such and such, here he is right here on tape. You can't tell me this is not happening because here he is right here on tape. What's
Mm.
going on? Why is this man still on the job? Why is he not on desk duty? Why is he not fired? Why is there not an investigation going on?
All right, now see, now you start now you're starting to sound, now it's starting to feel like it has a little bit of teeth now. Like to to engage these boards that we're setting up. So the boards are no longer just there and doing work. Now we can say, hey, this is what we observe in the community. Ex officers, blah blah blah. Here's what we have to see, and produce the receipts. Produce the receipts to the board, so the board can now go back and do due diligence for the community. So that, yeah, so that has some teeth to it. So that means the community is now involved, in the aspect of policing the police. Donations, people will make, no, the community won't get financial reward, but policing will be better, right? Well, yeah. Yeah, because we have receipts. Yeah, and we all know there's not, if you ain't got the receipts to back up what you're saying, like, it's just talk. Is we need to see stuff. So all these people who are videotaping stuff and just, yeah, showcasing it to on social media, it doesn't do us any good, because it doesn't it's not we're not going and taking videos and stuff off. But when police are looking for bad people, you best believe they're scouring social media looking for criminals, because criminals seem like they just need to put up all their bad deeds, on social media. You know,
and that's what we need to do. Is like say did you Ari? Did you see the video of the kids dancing?
no,
That where a policeman he actually there I think it was here in the state of Florida, and it's probably North Florida or something like that. They was finna do a little dance video, and a policeman comes up behind them in an unmarked car. They start the dance routine, and the policeman actually hits one of the kids,
okay,
and he hits the lights, but he hits another kid while hits the light, and the kid like not knocking him out the way, and the
hmm,
kid's like, hey, to where he moved to the side. Then the cops come up behind them, gets out the car, like the kids dancing. He takes their radio because they're dancing. He takes their radio and starts putting it away. And then when they turn around, like, hey, what's going on? The cop calls for backup.
hmm,
And it's like, but bro, you did not tell them to leave. You did not tell them to break up anything. You just escalated the situation off the rip.
right.
And then this is the bullshit that I seen when I'm looking reading about it. Now they get back to the kids and try to like the die down the conversation, talking about let's have a dance off. The fuck I want to have a dance off with you? That's just telling me bring your dumb ass down here, dance, dance, little monkey, and then we gonna forget about it.
Hmm. So let's get back to the board. So between James and I, maybe the board thing would seem like a theoretical thing, but the thing that's really missing out of all the communities is that police are not doing are not the police are not really a part of the communities.
uh,
They are
I,
not a part of the communities. Most of
I,
them don't live in those communities.
but
They're just assigned to those.
Ari, let me jump in here because I've been a firm believer in that before, and say that if you're gonna be a police officer in a certain area, you should be from that area or stay in that area.
One of the two or both.
Yeah, you know, because how can you police an area and you don't even know
You don't know the
the
you don't know the people.
yes, I
You know.
believe that police officers should be able to get back out and walk a beat and get to know the community.
Hmm.
And it's a difference in how a community reacts to a police officer when they know who you are.
Right. So if that is the case, that is the only way that you're going to develop any kind of relationship when police are out there asking for information. You know, if you see something, tell something, because there is not that relationship with the communities. That stuff is never is it hardly happens. Unless somebody's gonna go someplace outside of the community and drop a dime from somewhere. Because now you can't even call from your phone. That gets traced. We know exactly who made the call, where you made it from, which cell tower it ping off, or blah 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 blah. You know, and all it takes is for somebody that is in league with, some dirty cop that's doing, to find that information. You know, so people are not trusting of the officers because the officers are not they're not being a part of the community, so they are basically there, it seems, to just arrest, just arrest on site, you know just do their quota, arrest people, arrest more black people, arrest more black people for drugs, arrest more black people for foolishness. You come and, what y'all doing on the street. And like you said, cause a situation where I get to arrest more people because the whole thing is to get more black people in the system. So we all know once you're in the system, in this system, you're screwed.
And I can give a scenario how something happened when you know a police officer, because I can relate to back when one time I came home. My neighborhood was, I guess something happened in the neighborhood, and I came home and they had the neighborhood blocked off. The police move out my way on one street, so I come in, I pull in my yard, and when I'm getting out of the car, another cop run up on, hey, what you doing here? I live here.
Mhm.
How you got in here? They let me in on the other side.
Yeah. How do
you
you know
know,
that you don't live here?
yeah.
You should have
And
known
I,
that. Yeah.
you see me pull in the yard,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I get out. Well, go in the house. I am. you know, you the one who ran up on me.
Hmm.
And now when I go in the house, um, my partner that was staying with me at the time, he was like, man, he tell me what happened. He like, man, somebody did something at Walgreens and they was shooting and they jumped over the fence, ran and jumped in the car and hit it. So I'm looking like, oh, so they not even in this area, and they got the area just going from house to house. So I happen to look outside and I see one of the police officers that's standing there, like in my yard doing the search, and I'm like, oh, I know him.
Yeah.
So I opened the door and said, hey, yo, blah blah blah. Oh, he's like, hey, what's up, man? I said, man, people y'all looking for not even here. They done hit, got in the car and left. So he went, told them, hey, the people not here. They done hit it. But because I know him, he relied on what I said because we know each other and we cool. He's like, hey, we don't even need to be searching this neighborhood anymore because the people not here.
Hmm.
But that goes to, because I know him because he was from the area, and the relationship that you have with a police officer, y'all can work together.
Right. So I'm here, and but I guess my disclosure. I've lived in different communities in different parts of the state, and New York. So those are the places that I've lived: Florida and New York. And but I've never lived in a place where I've been, really active in a community per se. Um, I think most of us, and I think most of us haven't. We've lived in communities, and basically that's what we've done. We've lived in communities. And one of the things that I see, we live in communities, whether it's a condo or a housing community or what have you, and unless certain parts of that community is very neighborly friendly, where people take the time to get to know their neighbors, your neighbor next, on each side of you and across the street, or and a couple of houses down the street, or what have you. But in most places, that doesn't happen. You know, um, so shit could be happening. I could pull up to your house right now, with a moving truck, and just move out all kind of stuff. But because nobody pays attention really, or gives a crap, oh, we just thought that you were moving. You know what I'm saying? So we just thought you were moving. Yeah, we just saw a moving truck. We thought you guys were moving. All I gotta do is put up a for sale sign, and next week I just come and just start moving my shit out. What have you? You know what I'm saying? And but people, I don't think in a lot of communities we are not we're not our brother's keeper, or we're not our neighbor's keeper per se. And I think a lot of people are just not with that program. Everybody is doing their own thing. You know, and so something could happen and pop off, and either you're staying in your house because you don't want to get involved, and that's the thing that I see. People want change, but they don't want to get involved. They don't want to be involved at all. They want someone else to do the heavy lifting and do the hard work, and they reap the rewards of whatever that is. You know, yeah, people don't know their neighbors. You know, and like, yeah, things happen, and hey, you know, yeah, just don't want to be involved. You know what I'm saying? And it happens all the time. And I think more people, we should take the time. So here's the crazy thing: when we had you remember when the lockdown happened last year, when it was like, listen, y'all ain't going to work, y'all ain't going to supermarkets. Well, okay, maybe you can go to supermarkets, but that's it. You can't go no place. What started to happen in the communities when we were on lockdown?
People start
People
getting to know
started,
their neighbors.
yeah, people started to get to know their neighbors because there was nothing else they could do. People were out in their front yards sitting in chairs, and in little enclaves, they started to talk to their neighbor across the street. Sunset, they would come out in chairs and bring radio. Some people bring food, and they started to talk to their neighbors. They probably never spoken to their neighbors in years, if ever, you know. And the pandemic forced us to do things that we should have been doing all along, right? Nobody says that you got to be best friends with your neighbors, you know. Friendly is okay, but at least know what the hell is going on with John and Mary and Sue and what have you, you know. And if that's the case, then that will help bridge some of the gaps. But because we have a diversity of people living in different communities, and as you can see, especially what happened in South Carolina with that sergeant and the dude and the young lad that lived in that community, you know, when it comes to black and brown people and other people, black and brown people aren't supposed to be in certain neighborhoods, right? So you're just looked at as, like you said, the person that's not supposed to be here. You can't really afford to be here. This is not your neighborhood, you know. Um, why are you here? Because I live here, you know. Why is it a black man, can have a $500,000 house and police go and draw up on you like, I need to see your papers. Why? You know, I've never seen you here before. How would you know that? You're not here on a regular basis. This is my house. Why don't you go across the street and ask Mr. Man that's mowing his lawn if he lives there? Ask for his identity. Why you gotta ask me for my identification? Because you assume that I don't live here. I can't afford this car, this truck, this house. You know. So the experience that we're having, and at that instant, it would be nice if your neighbor would come to your assistant. Hey, this is my neighbor. Why are you harassing my neighbor? But we don't have that brotherly love anymore because nobody is standing up for each other. Hey, this
You breaking up, Irie.
is over here harassing. Well, go back and tell police chief and say, hey, officer friendly badge number blah 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 was harassing a resident that live that has a rightful to live in this community. These are the things we're trying to prevent. You need to do something about that. You need to discipline officer friendly. And we really work with the police. We're going to have to. But the mindset and the policies, a lot of policies have to change. And it's going to come a long way before we get to change our mindset in regards to the police. because as it is, I don't know any black community that trusts any police right now. I don't know any black person that trusts a police. You know, even when you are a upstanding citizen. And when I meant to do a post on Twitter the other day and just ask, since last year, how many people get anxious just at the sight of a police driving behind their car? They didn't flash you. They're just driving behind your car, man or woman. And I think most people would say, yes, they get anxious now just by the sight of a police car behind them, even if they haven't done anything, you know. So I think it's going to take a because it's kind of like trauma that builds on trauma. We've already been traumatized, because of slavery and everything from slavery, and we have other traumas that we have to deal with that have none of them have been solved. None of them have been none of those issues have been solved, and they haven't figured out how to, well, they're not really doing anything, I think, to solve police issues, when it comes to black and brown communities and black and brown people. So they just see us as the enemy, as the people that they need to fear, you know, and that needs to change. And I know police work is dangerous and all that stuff. I know that. We all know that.
But I'm gonna come back at what Detron just said about Chauvin having complaints against him.
Yeah, his
Anyway,
superior officers didn't do anything about it because, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It goes up the chain. You
but
know,
this is what I'm saying too. As a community, if you know that people keep complaining about this officer and he keeps being in the neighborhood, then it's time to go to the police station and be like, why is this man still in our community? You
hmm
know, cracking down on them for letting this man still patrol. We don't want him here. He's a detriment to your force. We don't need him in our community.
So as I was listening to my niece's YouTube earlier, and she was saying, as a representative
Irie,
of the
come.
state
Hold on,
lawyer,
Irie.
how,
Rewind because you was breaking up.
oh,
Start
as I was,
back till
I was listening to
you was
my
looking at your niece.
yeah, on YouTube, and she was just saying, of all the people in the legal profession who are, sworn, by the different states that they're in, the police is the only unit that doesn't have to, um, they don't have to really do anything really about the bad apples per se. So like Chauvin got reports on him. That's in a record, someplace. And if she does something and gets disciplined, it's for not just the whole world, but the people within her profession to see. Lawyers see it, judges see it, know exactly you can be disciplined, you can be disbarred, boom, 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 boom. And what happens to police? Okay, Chauvin gets all these complaints, blah blah blah. Okay, you fire him. Guess what? He doesn't even have to even go out of the state, bro. He just have to go down a few communities and get another job. Why? Because the information is either not shared or they don't really care. You know what I'm saying? There's no for the C who were doing bad and go and just immediately and 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later, you can go get another job as a police someplace else and carry on your same bad behavior. Okay, is that you do these bad deeds? Here's this record. It's shared among all state, and it's okay. You're a bad seed. You do not belong on the police force. You should not be able to get another job as a police officer doing the things that you are recorded in your record doing.
Yeah, and that's the problem that like you said, a police officer can get fired from one station, one police force, and go to another one and get a job like it was nothing wrong.
Right. Like nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, yeah, the police force is the only, law enforcement unit, so brotherhood or whatever you want to call it, that doesn't have to really answer to a lot of these things, that happen to them.
Hmm.
And that those are some of the things that need to change, because one bad officer can move on down in the same state or go into another state, do something, and on the word of X, Y, and Z, and get another job.
What's even worse? Not even another state, two counties over, one
Yeah,
county over.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And get another job. You
and,
know,
and the sad part is people can know what he done, and they still take him in with open arms.
especially if you are someone that if you condone, whether openly or under the covers, condone what they do. Yeah, we want
Hmm.
somebody like you in our department. You know,
Hmm.
you can come in here and shake some things up. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, a lot of changes needed to be made. This case, Floyd's case, Floyd slash Chauvin, you know, it's not gonna change anything um anytime soon. Not definitely not immediately. And I say that why? Because as literally as they were reading the verdict, I forget a young lady calls the I don't know where I don't think it was in Minnesota. It was somebody, young lady, uh, like, teenager, I think, whatever it was, or young lady calls the cops for help, and the cops come, and guess who gets shot?
She did.
She did, as they were reading the verdict. Okay, you know what I'm saying? And so this is Chauvin's case, but the case is going on. Deontay gets shot
Hmm.
as the case is going on, 10 miles down the street, from where it's happening. As the verdict is being read, a young lady gets shot by a police.
Hmm.
Young Adams gets shot, you know, as he turns around and puts his hands up, boom, he gets shot, you know. So it doesn't matter, that this case was monumental and historical and all that good stuff, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why I wasn't like super elated that, the verdict, was guilty. I was happy that it was guilty, 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 but it's like you immediately you go back into that frame of mind. Okay, so what does this change? How does this
Hmm.
help? You know, and that's the feeling, I think, of hopelessness. Some people might think it might be a change or something positive, but immediately, what you go back into that feeling that it's never going to change. We're going to still see, you know, people get shot because of the type of people who are on these different police forces in the different cities and states.
Yeah. I'm gonna what time is it? All right, we're gonna pull it in for this evening, but I'm gonna drop the topic for next week already. Um, or should I drop it right now? Uh, Fact checker, I need the topic so I can say it correctly. uh, at the same time, I'm getting told what how much time we have.
Mhm.
um, us everywhere. the topic has to do with us wearing masks as a community. Do black people wearing masks? Why do we have to wear masks? And I mean not the mask that we wear as in for COVID, the mask that we put on to deal with society.
Hmm. Should be interesting. Why do we even have to put on a mask? Just for the very simple fact that we're black. But yeah.
Yeah. So that's the topic for next week. So we already have one panelist already.
Whoa.
So we so we're ready to go for next week. The the flyer will be coming out soon. So
Kiddo.
people get ready. So Ari, what do you have coming up this week?
Tomorrow, MIA Soul, and I'm trying to restart my Sunday live on IG. Um, I may try to restart it this Sunday because I've taken a few weeks off. I guess you could kind of call it, first season run. So I'm gonna restart it again. Um, if not this Sunday, definitely the next Sunday. So I'm just trying to get some people booked, and of course, every Monday morning, um, Ricky Smiley Morning Show, 9:30. Quarantine cooking with Chef Ari. So that's what's up. Um, Looking to restart some pop up food events in the summer. So when that comes on board, looking for support from everybody for sure.
Okay. Okay. So this has been another episode of The Bridge. We look forward to seeing y'all next week. Same time, same place. This has been The Bridge.
Peace.